You want to know which language app will get you fluent the fastest? Is it Duolingo? Is it Rosetta Stone? Is it Babbel? Or is it a fancy new AI app? The truth is, I could recommend a language app. Maybe the one that I'm using right now, or maybe the one that's going to pay me the most if you buy it. But that wouldn't solve the actual problem that you're dealing with. Because if you've tried app after app after app trying to get fluent ASAP and nothing seems to be working, the real issue isn't which app you're using to learn a language, the issue is why you're using it. So what do I mean by that? Thing is, there's a bunch of different reasons why we want to learn a language as fast as possible. We're busy, we're overwhelmed, some people have ADHD and have a hard time staying consistent long term. And then of course, every language app out there will say just 5 minutes a day or 30 days to fluency or something like that expresses to you just how quickly that language app is designed to get you to your goals. So you download the app, you feel really hyped up and motivated for like a week, and then you forget about it. Maybe you have other stuff going on, maybe you don't actually like the app, or maybe you notice that you're not actually making any progress. So you give up, and then you blame yourself for giving up. Because according to the internet, that app that you were using should get you to your language learning goals, but it didn't. But that's okay, because at some point your motivation comes back, you find a new app and you try the new app, and the cycle continues over and over and over again. And nowhere in that cycle are you actually getting anywhere closer to your language learning goals. The cycle never ends because your question doesn't change. Fact of the matter is that constantly trying to find the fastest app will always lead you right where you are right now. If you want to move the needle at all, you need to change the question to something like, what's the best approach for me? So what's the difference? We are taught to see language apps as a miracle drug for our language learning. Download this app, play around on it for 10 minutes a day for 30 days, and bam, you get fluent. Obviously, language apps are not a miracle drug. So what are they? Language apps are a tool, and tools are excellent and can be a great thing for your language learning if you have a plan in place to use the tool as it's meant to be used. Because right now, if you are stuck in the cycle of trying all these different language apps and throwing them all at the wall and seeing which one will stick, you may as well go hit the treadmill to grow your biceps. Yeah, sure, a treadmill will make you more fit, but not in your biceps. The same could be said about using Duolingo to learn to speak a language. Sure, Duolingo can help your language learning, but it's not going to help you improve your fluency. And this is where language learners go wrong every single day. Because the fact of the matter is that you are a human being. You have diverse language goals, language styles, interests, lifestyle, your own obstacles, your own history of learning languages. All these little bits of puzzle pieces come together to create a unique human being that is you. But apps don't treat you as a human being. No matter what they tell you, no matter what the journey of using a particular app looks like, any individual language app is a one-trick pony. It has a set out path to get you to learn a language, but you have to do it a certain way and you're gonna have to expect a certain result. It's up to you to figure out if that journey and that result match up with what you want to look like. And this is something that most language learners miss when they start learning a language. There are so many language apps and so many different ways to learn a language, and they all can work for certain language learners. But not every language app is going to work for you. Not every language app has your goal in mind. They have a goal in mind, but is it your goal? You might see a million glowing reviews of story learning courses and invest a lot of money based on all these people who seem to love story learning, but unless your goal is to read in your target language, then you're SOL. On the other hand, if you want to have conversations fast and you try a language app like HelloTalk and Tandem for conversation exchanges, sure, the eventual goal that you'll get to is being able to have conversations. But if you don't have the vocabulary already, then you're gonna have to use something else. And this is exactly what I help my clients figure out. Because when you choose your tools to learn a language based on your goals, your learning style, your interests, and all these other factors, everything gets easier and faster. Okay, so we know that the approach of finding a new language app that theoretically should work and hoping for the best does not actually work. The good news is that you can make progress and you can get closer to your language learning goals. You just have to change your approach. Now, like I said, I do a really deep dive on this with my clients. So when they finish my course, they know exactly which resources to use, when to use them, and when to use something else. But to give you something to work with from this video, I'll give you 2 questions to ask yourself. And these questions can be applied to literally any aspect of your language learning at any time. And the answer will tell you if you're on the right path or not. The first question is, is, what skill am I trying to build right now? And is that skill the thing that I'm actually practicing? And I want you to think really clearly about this, because sometimes we have a tendency to accidentally lie to ourselves, because maybe the things that we're doing in theory should work, but when we really think about it logically, it doesn't have anything to do with anything. So for example, if your goal is to have a conversation in Italian, but you're spending day after day after day going through vocab lists and practicing conjugation, but you're not opening your mouth at all to even try to utter a basic Italian phrase, then your answer is no. Because yes, you do need vocabulary and some grammar in order to be conversational in a language. However, unfortunately, the way that we are taught to learn languages is way too heavily focused on memorizing vocabulary words and practicing conjugations, and not at all in actually using this information. In this case, you need to do a little approach shift around. So instead of, for example, memorizing lists and lists of Italian vocab words, just like in silence, alone in your head, open your mouth. If you have a flashcard and you see the word for horse, don't say the English word, say the Italian word. If you want to speak the language, you have to practice speaking the language little by little. So that's the first question to ask yourself to keep you on track in your language learning. The second question to ask yourself is whether you enjoy what you're doing. Do you like it? Or are you just doing the thing that you think that you're supposed to do and hoping for the best? Because in reality, there are unlimited ways to learn a language. Seriously. There's always a different approach that you can take. If you have a million different approaches to get you to understanding music in your target language, you only need to pick one of them that you enjoy doing. So if you want to be able to listen to German music, and in order to build up your ability to understand German, you're using like a beginner video course that slowly but surely builds up your vocabulary like a kindergartner, which is a valid approach, but not necessarily for everybody. If you hate doing it, then it's not for you. Do something else. There are so many other things that you can do. Those two questions apply to any phase of your language learning, will really help you keep on track so much better than any random language app will. Because remember, we want to focus on your goals and your interests and how you're making progress. So now if you're at the point where you're like, hey Jamie, I get the idea, but there are so many different apps, you even said so. So how am I supposed to find one that will get me to my goal? I gotcha. If you're ready to shift your approach to learning a language to something that will actually benefit you, my first recommendation is to click the link below in the description to use my free language app search. This language app search is full of years worth of my blog post reviews where I go in depth in a whole bunch of different language apps, show you screen recordings of using the app, tell you who it's for, who it's not for, what goals to expect. So your next language app is based on an educated decision and not just randomly closing your eyes and picking one. Because that's basically what you're doing right now. Now there are a ton of language apps in my language app search, and if you are looking at the list of apps that it gives you based on your target language, your level, and the skill you want to improve, and you say, wow, this is still really a lot. There are so many different options. How am I supposed to start? If you want to fast track your language learning and just find out what exactly you need to do to learn a language and do it and get there, the most efficient way to learn a language is to book a free call with me, link below in the description. We'll talk about what you've been using to learn a language, what's been holding you back, what's been working, and how I can best help you to get to your language learning goals, whatever they are. We can build a completely unique, personalized roadmap for you to learn a language. All the links you need are down below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new one all about how to learn languages. Bye.